I'm going to discuss how this book of mine, Cultural Anthropology, uh, is useful. The title is Cultural Anthropology. But this book is written in a way uh, this is useful to anthro students plus socio students and also socio students. And main thing that I wanted to the main thing that I targeted in this book is I have one very favorite book that was Ember and Ember. So what I wanted was I wanted to do some kind of Indianizing this book, and in a way significant number of questions from anthropology and sociology are covered. Okay, so primarily written as an anthropology book, but useful in a very significant way to sociology students also. And by Indianizing and making it relevant, Ember and Ember book. Ember and Ember book has always been my favorite book, both in my socio course and anthro course. My favorite socio textbook is, I would say, Ember and Ember. But then that was very big, and a lot of it is not necessary for our exam purpose. So I wanted to make it small, more relevant, and useful to civil aspirants. Okay. And one area that is common to anthropology and sociology and coming under cultural anthropology is, I would say, gender, which comes under marriage, family, and kinship. Okay. So this book places a very high emphasis on gender. Okay. And along with gender, it introduces religion. Religion in general, without going into the Indian religion. And it also covers research methods. Okay. So gender, religion, research methods, these are common to both anthro and socio. Okay. But there are some topics exclusive to anthropology. Branches, meaning, scope, linguistic anthropology. Okay. And political organization, economic organization. So exclusive to anthropology or political organization, economic organization, and meaning, scope, branches, these things. So these are exclusive to anthropology. These also have been covered. So this is how I wrote the book, with an intention to help both socio and anthro. And these it was like my typing and writing, but gender is not based on my writing, it is my lectures transcribed, transcripts of my lectures. So most important part of this book is based on transcripts of my lecture. Okay. After my lectures are transcribed, I will go through the material and then see what uh, I also give certain class sheets to the students. There are some facts in those sheets. So I add to these transcripts certain facts. So transcripts plus facts become final chapters, and these are edited. Okay. So in fact, this is the method that I started following recently. Transcription of the lectures plus adding certain facts and then editing and then bringing out as books. Okay, that's the reason why I'm able to release more number of books in recent times. Okay, now let us go through some of the things I had to say on this book. So this is the book as published by Oak Bridge, pages 2 and 5, and price 250 rupees. And this is the anthropology syllabus that this book covers: 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and 3.4.5, economic, political, religion, and 7.8. So this is one cluster. This is the basics: marriage, family, kinship, economic, political, organization, religion, and linguistic and research methods. But a lot of focus is on 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. Okay. And this book is divided into these many chapters. 1. Anthropology and its branches, culture and society. Linguistic anthropology and research methods. Types of economy, modes of exchange, political organization and law and justice in simple societies. Economic organization, political organization. And many chapters devoted to marriage, family, kinship. Sex and gender, gender hierarchy, marriage, types of marriage, residence and kinship, kinship map, family structure, feminism. And see, I added homosexuality, transgender issues, evolutionary psychology of sex and gender. Evolutionary psychology of sex and gender is done out of my interest. Forms of religion and reflections on religion. Reflections on religion also have done on my interest. I add some chapters which I think are important, which I think students should know. So that's how I added evolutionary psychology and also reflections on religion. Okay. So totally 22 chapters. So this is the anthropology textbook that I wanted to Indianize. Simplify, Indianize, and in a way previous questions are covered. This is my book. And to Indianize, what Indian books I used? Social Anthropology by Madan and Majumdar, Family, Kinship and Marriage by Patricia, and Religion in India by T. N. Madan. Okay. These are not the only books that I used, but these are the books for the purpose of Indianizing. And key features of this book: simple language, that's one. Simple language is partly because this is based on my transcripts, up-to-date information. This is released only in 2020. Okay. And at many places there are many insights that make you think. And at the end of the chapter, I defined keywords. This I learned from Ember and Ember. He takes certain keywords and defines. So this I did. And latest studies included. I followed the latest edition of Ember and Ember, and I took the data from this. For example, evidence for a particular aspect, reasons for polygyny, reasons for polyandry, or studies on homosexuality. So I took the latest from this book, this recent edition, and diagrams were necessary. Diagrams are necessary in kinship studies. And then in the end, I added questions to think. Okay. I believe if you can answer all these questions, your understanding is good. So I wanted to check once again whether you followed the basic themes of the chapter. So these are the key features of this book. And now, okay. Now the next question is, surely people want to know how useful is this specifically from previous questions point of view. Previous questions. My first point is that I delivered from the viewpoint of the previous questions only. That is number one. But I did not confine to the previous questions. There has to be some continuity, theme, and so it was a continuity. Sometimes I would go all out, even if that is not there in the syllabus or the previous question, because I want students to have a story based on insights. Okay. In fact, I covered even 3 movies. One Telugu movie I covered, and one English movie, and one Tamil movie. Also, I covered as to explain certain things to make the book more interesting. English movie I covered was The Man from Earth. The Man from Earth. And for transgenders, I covered Super Deluxe. That's a very good Tamil movie. And then I covered one Telugu movie. That was Ninnu Kori. Okay. So my aim was to make a student think. So that's what I did. And now let us see. This book was written before the mains, but let us see how many questions came in 2020, both in Anthro and in Social. This is one way of testing how successful the book was. I am very happy to say that many questions came from this book. Okay. In Anthropology, for 70 marks, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, human rights and cultural relativism, Jane Goodall's contribution in studying human behavior, examine the impact of feminist movements, explain how variations in language usage is related to social inequality. So in 2020, 70 marks can be answered from this 200 plus page book. And some of the questions are not part of any standard book. I mean, standard Indian book, like for example, Jane Goodall is not covered in much of material that the students are familiar with. So 70 marks in anthropology. And I am surprised that in sociology also it is the same thing. 110 marks in sociology 2020. Methodology, discuss the important sources of hypothesis, analyze the strengths and weaknesses of social survey, religious beliefs, institution of marriage, impact of gender division of labor, conceptual issues about lineage and descent, analyze the household dimension of family. Household dimension of family. So, covering for 110 marks in sociology and 70 marks in anthropology is I think, very impressive achievement. Okay. But here one can ask, how can a small book do so much? It doesn't look big enough. So here I want to say certain things about my teaching method. This book is written on basis of my teaching methods. And what I think exam is. My idea of examination is not cut and paste. I don't believe in cut and paste. In cut and paste, you for any question you go to that material and you cut and paste in the examination. So students go by this cut and paste. They, for everything there has to be something in the material and then they take that only. Whereas my method is different. My method is read little but understand and interlink topics and write well. This is my method. In this method, you actually read little, but you have to understand, you have to interlink and write well. And what does this mean to the textbook or the material? What it means to the textbook is that if you take any question, you want to identify that in a textbook. In a textbook, there may be only few lines. Cultural relativism and human rights. There may be only few lines here. But how will a student write a big answer out of this? Because he will link with other pages of the book. So the book is thick, that is dense. I mean, language is simple, but I expect the student to understand and interlink and respond to the question, not using the cut and paste method. If you take cut and paste method, then you will see that answer is not possible or the information is not sufficient to write the answer. But that is not my method. Going by cut and paste, you need huge material, but I don't go by that. I go by insight method, where the student studies little. So corresponding to that question, there will be little in that book. But if that added to other things and reflected, one generates an answer. So this is my method, and I wrote book based on that method only. Okay, so this is sociology syllabus covered. Paper 1, research methods, systems of kinship, religion and society. Paper, the sociology syllabus covered. 110 marks in sociology. Okay. So what are the limitations of the book? I would say some chapters are brief. It is true, some chapters are brief. So next edition I'll make huge changes, but don't wait for that next edition. And some appear to be brief, though not, because you have to think and write. So my book is based on my teaching methods. Read little, but understand, reflect, and apply, interrelate, and write well. Okay. So my conclusion about my book is that I want you to buy this book. Okay, I want all Socio students and Anthro students to buy this book. But let me tell you, not as a replacement to any book. This book has certain insights, certain issues. It will help you. But don't compare this book with any other book and say, should I buy this or that? My answer is maybe disappointing. But the primary target was Ember and Ember, Indianization of Ember and Ember. Okay. Indianization done through certain books. Okay, this is my thing, not as a replacement to any book, but a lot useful to your examination. Okay, thanks a lot for listening. Bye.